If you think about the massacres which made so many headlines during the era of racial segregation, such as the Sharpeville Massacre in 1960, the violence used against the Soweto uprising in 1976, they had certain things in common which I think you can also identify, despite the different circumstances and the different context, with Marikana. For one thing, the specific demands that protesters were using in all of these occasions may have appeared at first glance to be relatively isolated. At Sharpeville, protesters were resisting the pass laws, the hated pass laws. In 1976 in Soweto, students were protesting the use of Afrikaans as a language of teaching in schools. And at Marikana, people were asking for a living wage. But actually, when you unpick what those demands meant for the broader political and economic system in South Africa at the time, they were actually far more significant because they struck at the heart of the inconsistencies and the inequities of the status quo. In previous incidents of apartheid-era state violence, there was almost always an establishment cover-up. And again, that took place at Marikana. We now know, and we have video footage of officers trying to plant weapons on the corpses of miners that had died. So there are threads of continuity throughout, but I think the biggest thread of continuity is that these apartheid-era massacres came to define the particular epoch of South African history that they took place in. They, as I say, they were a window onto the broader social dynamics at that time, and I think Marikana very, very much fits into that category. People have talked about Marikana essentially exposing and destroying the illusions of post-apartheid democratic South Africa, and in the same way that Soweto and Sharpeville caused people not just within South Africa's borders but beyond to question some of the fundamentals about the stories that they were being told about this nation. I think Marikana has done the same.